For every application, one of the main basic thing we are doing is debugging. So how to do in an Angular application? You will see in this video. Hi all, I am Lakshman. As a part of our Angular best practice series, today we are going to see how to debug our Angular application, and we will see what are all the ways we could debug our application. We will see what are all the prerequisites. Number two, we will see how to debug an application. So without wasting any time, let's get started. First, let us see all our prerequisites. Number one is Node.js, either it is LTS version or current version. Number two, it's Angular CLI. If you already have it, it's okay. If you are a new one, kindly install via npm install -g Angular CLI and engine for your first Angular project. Number three, we are going to use Visual Studio Code for this video. And number four, you need to have a debug for Chrome extension, which is available for Visual Studio Code. And there was a latest release called Angular DevTools for Chrome. You can install it for a Chrome and for other supported browsers. So these are all our prerequisites. So without wasting any time, let's move on to how to debug. This is our Angular application where we used to build and for our demo purposes for Angular best practices. So what we need to do was, first we need to install the debug for Chrome installer. So once this is done, so we have installed it, then you need to go to debug options and just open up this launch screen. So I already add a PWA options here, so already pre-configured with my current directory. What I'm gonna do is in the Visual Studio Code there was an internal terminal available here. So as our to start an application, we need to do npm start. So once this start is running off, then it will kickstart our process. So let it be a bit of patience and let it get started. Okay, in the meanwhile, we will explain you what are all the debugging options we are going to see. First, we will debug on the local where the npm models is being installed in local. So we will be debugging our application via this Chrome debug options. First, we will do with this, and we will debug the source code informations right away here, and with specifying the debugger point. For example, let's take component. We will place some debuggers here, so where it will get passed. And the second one thing is we will be debugging our application in the browser itself. So these are the main tools we will see, and then if we have time, so we will cover up other options too. So let us see how is our build completed. So it's getting started and it's almost there. Let it be some minute of patience. Now my application build has been completed. Once this is done, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this option, run and debug, and I'm going to click this. So what this will do is I already had a setup of my configuration, and my local path is 5200, and you can see this will come a debugger here. You can see that In the Visual Studio Code itself, we can able to debug what's my log level, and we can type in F5 for the login, and we can just run it, and applications got started. And there was another way of, this is the one kind of the way where you could debug from the Visual Studio Code, because as it integrated with lot of tools and extension, it is more powerful than before. So we can able to debug our application in Chrome or in Firefox. You can have a supported options here, can able to use it. So the second option what I have said is, we are going to stop this. So the browser is got closed, and I'm going to open it right away here. 5200. I'm going to inspect here. So in the inspect, if you go to the source file, and I highly recommend you to don't type anywhere inside the code for debugger options, as this is also your front-end based application. A debugger will also work, but kindly don't do it. If you are in a development mode and if you want to have a clean cut what data you are required to get, kindly place a deep breakpoint instead of console logs, instead of typing debugger, which I highly recommend you to do it. And let's close this stuff. And likewise in the Visual Studio Code, you can just Control P, and you can type what are the files you need to display. Likewise, you can do it in a browser, which I'm actually doing it here, which is app component. So these files all are accessible here too. So you can just come up here and just refresh the page. It will start debug, and it make sure that the breakpoint comes up here, where you can easily debug and you can easily console, which is what is on our log level. I can console it here. This dot log service dot log level page 3. So you can also debug there, and you can evaluate in the console also. So, and the third one is our Angular options. If your application is built in Angular, and if it is in a development environment, this is the latest dev extension which is provided by Angular, so that you can easily content and see what are all the components and what are all its actual data and its statuses. Can easily verify all the elements and its root properties here, and you can, for the binding on all the document reference will be available. So you can directly link to the Angular documentations URL, and where let us see, let us check and see our to do page. So let me take off a debugger tab. So there was no need to do. Okay, debug via Chrome, and to do. So let's go here and click on the to do, and see there was a to do list of debug to Chrome, and I have debug Chrome debugger added. You can see there was two objects here. Let me keep this below so you can see here. and I have completed this, and I have completed this. So Angular Dev Tools. So this helps you to actually see what are all the forms and what are all the information where you can easily check whether it is a valid form or invalid form. And you see this is valid right now, and if you click cancel it is invalid. You can have a run around informations in for the Chrome. And even if you are running your application inside a container, Docker containerization, this application will still recognize it as a development option. So you can just go there and you can just check all the informations what is actually is available and what is the value which is set in this, which will be very helpful while debugging an application. So that wrap up the main 3 steps of debugging the Angular application. For all the developers, if you are gonna build any application, we supposed to do and we required to do the debugging. So in this video on an Angular application, we are able to debug it via Chrome extension, and we have debugged our application directly in the browser, and I have explained you how our Angular dev tools has been work. I hope this will be very useful for you and able to debug your application efficiently, and I highly recommend you to don't hardcode the debugger options and console it. Kindly put a breakpoint over that and start debugging. So that wrap up this video. I hope this will be very helpful for you. If it's so, kindly subscribe to the channel and give a thumbs up like on this video. So that wrap up. Until then, I am Lakshman. Peace out.